I am ready. Because I want to feel like a man. So far, no, they tire you. I can make you more money than you're making right now. Take her back. Cut soap for me.
I swear with my life, blood and flesh.
The story begins in a tense situation where we witnessed a strange man and some other young boys performing one of the most deadly rituals known to mankind. A boy named Joshua was made to swear to the gods, and so did the other boys. The man collected their blood in a calabash and gave it to another strange-looking creature. As he drank their blood, signifying and stating he claimed to own them from there onwards. The scene shifted focus to a young man called Efe, who began to narrate his life experience and how he grew up from a very poor background, although his family did all they can to make sure he went through school. However, he hated his father for all Chet couldn't afford, although he came out as a first-class graduate while also studying computer programming. He also stated that now that he has his daughter, he now understands what his parents went through. He begged his boss for a loan so he can sort his family problems, but his boss refused to assist him, as Efe himself is still owing the restaurant 6 months' salary he took as a loan.
How do I want to consign me? Go deliverance. God no like you.
He got a call from his mother-in-law informing him of his wife's crisis at the hospital due to the fact that she needs 200,000 naira for this operation. She is about to give birth and needs to do a CS immediately. We are meant to know that his wife is pregnant with triplets. Efe went back to his boss to beg for money but got mocked. While at it, the higher boss came in and asked Efe what the problem was. Efe explained the situation and asked for a loan. The lady was willing to help only if he gets romantically involved with her.
Oh me now. If you know they do like small picking, oh me now.
Madam, stop!
Efe refused and went out to find the money, but all to no avail. He went back to his boss and she gave him the money. Efe quickly entered the tricycle. The men in it looked suspicious, but Efe entered hurriedly. As they were driving, he noticed the driver passed the wrong route. Before he could ask so much questions, one of the men brought out a knife and asked him for the envelope of money, else he'll get stabbed. Efe gave them the money and he was pushed out of the vehicle. So when he got to the hospital, the nurse asked him for money. Efe explained that he was robbed, but they paid no heed. He began to shout at them until a lady who seemed in charge came just in time. She took Efe to her office, and after he discussed everything, the lady offered to discuss with the hospital manager to allow him some time to gather the money and open a flexible payment plan. She begged him not to disappoint her. Afterwards, she also informed him of the death of one of the triplets who was underweighted and not fully formed. In total sadness, Efe cried.
I am so sorry.
After which he stated that he feels so relieved by this, before then asking for God's forgiveness.
When you said we lost one of the babies, I felt relief.
However, earlier before this happened, a woman named Mrs. Ogunlesi, who got a call at a birthday party relating to her husband and children, she ran to the hospital and was informed about the death of her husband. So quickly she went in to confirm before then crying for the death of her lost one. Meanwhile, Efe went on to see his wife and kids while his mother-in-law mocked him of his wretchedness. Back at his work, Efe is seen jesting with his co-workers as he was working on his laptop. He got a text reminder of the hospital first payment, and before he could process it, his uncles came with a list of ridiculous items needed to bury his mother. Efe yelled at them, before then tell them to back off. Efe's wife also was laid off from work due to her being distracted at work. She begged her boss, but she insisted and told her to go home. Since bad things keep happening to this family, more like Netflix straw, Efe went back to the boss to complain about the salary deduction, even after she promised to clear the loan if he sleeps with her, which she did. She tried to lure him to come over at her place that night, but Efe refused. She got upset and sent him out. Meanwhile, the lady who lost her husband continues to have a serious breakdown over the loss of her husband. Back at the restaurant, a group of guys in the restaurant were causing some commotion. The group head requested that the new waitress attends to them. Efe offered to attend to them instead, since the girl wasn't comfortable with the men. Efe went ahead to attend to them. Apparently, one of the men named Obuzo recognized Efe. He saved him back in school.
Efina, you don't remember me? Bros, you don't remember me? This guy now saved my life.
The boss came back, seeing Efe with the men. So in anger, she sacked him immediately and asked the new waitress to attend to them as she initially instructed. Obuzo was surprised at how Efe was begging the lady for the job. He told him to sit down and give you some money, before then also paying the lady all the money Efe is owing the restaurant and asked the boss to serve him food.
My guests want shop.
Come on,
Efe and his wife came visiting Obuso, who also introduced his wife to them. The women left the men to discuss, and once they both left, the men had a long conversation where Efe explained his ordeal to Obuso. Efe stated that sometimes he do go out at night not to work night job, but just to make his wife think he has a night shift job. He also stated that he has so many ideas, however, funds is his only limit. Obuso promised to help, as he also understands all Efe is going through. He then asked Efe if he can do the kind job he does, and Efe vowed that he can.
Cut soap for me, brotherly. And they also try me.
While on the other hand, the women also gisted and drank to their new friendship. Later on, Obuso took Efe to his company and showed him around on how things are done. He offered Efe the supervisor position and also explained how his business works. He stated all he needed from Efe was trust. However, his business looks very shady, but Efe was willing to take the risk. Afterwards, they both entered a secret place and wore a mask. Obuso showed Efe around, and this whole operation was beyond illegal. Obuso have a very big illegal empire organization beneath his legal business where he uses that to clean his dirty money. He confessed that he has hundreds of this all over Lagos. So after they all left the place, Efe rejected his offer, stated he couldn't gather the courage to do the kind of work Obuso does. Efe informed Obuso that he can create a software for them, but Obuso wasn't interested. He told Efe that just because he once saved his life, he will let him go freely even after sharing his secret with him, and he doesn't owe him anything again. Efe got home and lied to his wife about not getting the job. She was a bit upset. Things got a little heated, but they reconciled later on. Obuso's wife called Efe's wife, Nisa, later in the day. She forgot her baby stuff in their house. Idia offered to send her driver over to bring it to her. She begged her to tell Obuso to offer Efe another job. That was how she found out that it was Efe that actually rejected the supposed job. Efe went to a company he has been pitching his software to. After back and forth with the security man, he met with the boss who gave him an opportunity to pitch himself to the board. But unluckily for Efe, his laptop wasn't with him, and that was how he lost the chance. Efe went back to the restaurant. After sleeping with the boss as she wanted, he requested that she gives him the job back, but she refused. Efe got angry and left. As he went back home, seeing that the kids were crying because they hadn't eaten, as his wife wasn't able to breastfeed them again due to her age and they had no money to buy baby formula, Efe was devastated. He went into the rain and cried. Afterward, he went back to Obuso and told him he was ready. Efe pitched his AI software idea to Obuso and explained how it will help multiply the money he makes by creating an artificial intelligence software to make a deep fake of anybody they can imagine. Obuso bought into the idea. Meanwhile, Mrs. Motorayo started therapy. She still sees and hears voices of her dead children and husband. On the other hand, Efe and Obuso discussed over breakfast. Efe suggested they do a 50-50% cut since it was his idea. After back and forth, they finally agreed on 25 to 75% cut. Obuso asked Efe again if he could trust him. Efe said yes, and they shook hands to their new partnership. Efe went back home with a new car and also got a new apartment. His wife Nisa was shocked and suspicious, but Efe assured her was all good.
What if it's something that could land you in jail?
I promise you.
4 years later, Mrs. Ogulesi returned back to work. She's now fully recovered. Oguzo and Efe met each other as they celebrate the party together. They all looked so good. Idia came to greet Nosa, so just as they were gisting, Eve rushed out with fear. Nosa kept asking how it happened, but she couldn't utter any word.
What happened?
Meanwhile, Efe and Obuzo went on a boat. Suddenly, the other guy covered Efe's head with a nylon and was accusing Efe of stealing his money. Efe denied, stating that the final minute the bank had cancelled the transaction, and luckily, Obo believed. They got back. Nosa and Idia ran towards them to inform them that Susu, Efe's child, was missing. They searched everywhere and finally found Susu in the freezer unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, after a short while, she gained consciousness. Oboza assured Efe that he will find the person that did that to his child. He also told Ozzy, one of his men, to stay with Efe for security. On the other hand, Mrs. Ogulisi, who is an inspector, continues to see news about Efe and his family, so she wonders who they are. Back to Obuzo. Just as he head back home, Obuzo was attacked and shot at, but luckily he escaped. The next day, Efe went to see Obuzo, and on getting there, he was shocked seeing Obuzo in that state, and it was about to be a war. Obuzo told him about the person responsible for the incident. He called in Teacher. He's requesting a 30% tax from Obuzo, who isn't willing to succumb. Efe tried to negotiate with Obuzo to play things safe with Teacher, but he wasn't willing. It clearly that Obuzo was ready for war.
We negotiate with her. Whether na 1% or 0.5%. I no give her. This guy is obviously capable of doing anything. If you come more money for your own share, give her. Make we divide her. Me, 20, you, 10. I say I need to give her. She.
As they were discussing, Obuzo already has his plan running. Teacher was about going out with his grandkids. The driver took them to the tower while they wait for Teacher to join them, and as soon as the driver started the car, it blew up in flames. Meanwhile, things get heated between Efe and Obuzo, as Efe doesn't want to be part of his plan, but unfortunately, the deed was already done, as Obuzo got a notification.
Nosa is seen in the hospital with her child. The doctor attended to her. Susu is healing well, but Nosa still feels sad seeing her child in such state. The doctor tried to console her. He told her his experience with his child who got hurt when he was little also. And after such story, Nosa felt a bit relieved afterwards. On the other hand, Mrs. Ogunlesi was still seen as crazy back at work. The agency has been chasing the monkey case for a while now, and Mrs. Ogunlesi looks quite interested in it, as the monkey is a very big illegal organization known for doing heavy cybercrime. Teacher had to stay at one of his boys' house. He looked miserable and willing to do everything to revenge his granddaughter's death. As he was speaking, his men were already making move at the hospital. The battle line was drawn. Nosa was sleeping, same as her daughter. A man disguised as a cleaner was about to attack Susu, but just then Nosa woke up and stopped him. She pounced on him while Susu kept shouting. The nurses were busy watching a movie and they could barely hear what was happening. After a while, one of the nurses began to hear screams. Just in time, the doctor came in and pounced on the attacker. He held him down but was stabbed on the leg by the attacker, who ran off afterwards. This caused a scene at the hospital. At the station, Mrs. Ogunlesi met her superior and insisted to take up the case for the monkey, but unfortunately, she wasn't given the role. At the hospital, Efe came into the hospital and was upset at what happened. He insisted on taking his daughter back home, but when his wife doesn't agree with him, Efe began to act dramatic towards her. Later that evening, Mrs. Ogunlesi called her therapist late at night to discuss how her superior treats her at work and her mental health. Efe went to the club to inform Obuzo about what happened at the hospital. Obuzo was still not willing to negotiate with teacher as Efe advised. It was worse for him. As soon as he saw some ladies walk into the club, he totally forgot all Efe was saying. The ladies refused to pay attention to Obuzo's advances and that got him angry, so he confronted them, and before things blew out of proportion, Efe stepped in and was able to calm Obuzo, so he left the club in anger. Efe was also about to leave, but the driver almost hit the lady's car. He came down and apologized to her. Efe found her attractive and he spoke for a while. He asked her out on dinner, but she refused and eventually left. Efe got back home. He carried his son into the room, seeing Nosa totally asleep on the couch. He put Junior, his son, to sleep and carried his wife to their room. His phone rang and it was Ivy. He picked the phone only to hear Obuzo and Ivy laughing and speaking on the other end. Efe got angry and drove out immediately to Ivy's house. As soon as Obuzo drove out, he went in and confronted Ivy. Ivy and Obuzo have been dating for 2 years and she's now pregnant. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ogunlesi finally remembered who Efe was after recalling she met him at the hospital the day she lost her family. Efe tried to reconcile with his wife as she blames him for the threats in the life of their family. Nosa was angry at him for everything and even returned the gift he sent her. Efe called Ananda, the lady he met at the bar who had issues with Obuzo. He asked Amanda out for a dinner date and this time around she agreed. Of course, after he must have paid her a huge amount of money. Anyways, Mrs. Ogunlesi began her investigation on Efe. She went back to the hospital she first saw Efe and inquired the doctor about Efe while also requesting to get his files. However, she refused to give them out. So as soon as Mrs. Ogunlesi left, the lady called Efe to inform him. Efe went on a date with Amanda. He saw Obuzo at the restaurant, but Amanda refused to be around Obuzo after the stunt he pulled the last time. Efe convinced her to stay back and she did. They all ate while the girls made small talks about the monkey boys. Efe and Obuzo argued over the matter. Mrs. Ogunlesi and Onome, her work colleague, met at a suya spot to discuss cases and the updates. Efe and Obuzo discussed about the issue with teacher. Teacher was still stubborn about the matter. Efe warned him and also asked him to stay away from his daughter Ivie. Efe was causing a scene and someone was recording all that was happening. Onome also showed Mrs. Ogunlesi the video of Efe and Obuzo and her suspicions grew further. Teacher went back to his house and looked around as memories with his granddaughter flooded his mind. He got upset and called Ebidan to know why his granddaughter's murderers are still alive. He wants them dead and quick too. Efe went back home and his wife confronted him after seeing the video online, and they both got into a heated argument. Obuzo went to Ivie's house. He asked her how her father was able to find out about their relationship. He told her about the fight he had with her father and said he would have to end things with her now that her father has warned him against being with her. She told him about her pregnancy, but Obuzo wasn't hearing any of that. He then pushed her and walked away while Ivie begged and cried. Efe went back to Amanda after the argument with his wife. Onome and Mrs. Ogunlesi continued their investigation on Efe and Obuzo, the boss as he was fondly called. Obuzo later called Efe to apologize about his outburst the last time. They were back to being brothers. Meanwhile, Efe and Amanda continued their affair while his wife argued with her mother back home.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Ogunlesi seems to have had a breakthrough in getting closer to catching the monkey. On the other hand, Obuzo ran home after hearing what happened to his wife, Idia. She hugged him as soon as she saw him. She had just escaped death. Efe went on another date with Amanda. Nosa's call came in, but he ignored it and continued with Amanda. She narrated her life history to Efe. He also told her his life experiences too. Obos called Efe and informed him about what happened. Back at the agency, Mrs. Ogunlesi was able to detain one of the boys, Bello, that she has been investigating. During the investigation, she found out he was part of the monkey crew. Efe went to the hospital to see Nosa's mom. His wife was very furious at him. She threatened to spill his secrets if he doesn't stay away from the kids until the problem he started finally ends. Obos kidnapped and was torturing Teacher's father. Efe then tried to talk him off, but he refused. He pulled out a gun and pointed it to Obuzo. Efe succumbed and released the old man. They went back and forth and eventually got into a physical fight. Ozzy Boy finally spoke his mind. He has been jealous of how Obuzo has been treating him since Efe joined them. Ozzy Boy then left. Mrs. Ogunlesi was able to strike a deal with Benson. He gave her the address of one of the cells where the monkey boys operate, and she went there. Onome called and her phone rang out, signaling her presence. She silenced her phone and hid well. Efe took Teacher's dad to Amanda's house. She queried him about what has been happening and pleaded that he opened up to her. Efe finally did, and surprisingly, Amanda doesn't seem to be shocked by this. Chioma called Mrs. Ogunlesi to inform her about her findings. So quickly, Mrs. Ogunlesi went to the office, but she seemed to get into trouble. She was called in by Superior Babalola. Mrs. Ogunlesi forged her signature for an immunity deal with suspect Bello. She couldn't find the video evidence of the cell she had in her phone to prove her actions, and Bello was also found dead that morning. Meanwhile, Mrs. Ogunlesi was the last person to see him alive. Amanda made a plan with Efe concerning the issues with Teacher, and luckily, it seemed to be working. Efe was blindfolded and led to Teacher. After Teacher's father told Teacher how Efe helped him and save his life, Teacher became a bit lenient towards Efe. Mrs. Ogunlesi discussed the findings with Superior Babalola, who at first wasn't buying it, but Mrs. Ogunlesi wasn't ready to give up, as she kept on insisting. During this, things became really intense between the two. Mrs. Ogunlesi was then given a suspension for faking Babalola's signature. Back to Efe, he continued to have a peaceful conversation with Teacher while he continued to eat the cooked human meat served to him. Efe informed him that he had nothing to do with the death of his granddaughter, but Teacher wasn't ready to listen to all of that, as he made it clear he wanted revenge. Efe tried to negotiate, but yet again he refused and told Efe that he can only stop if only he bring him the head of Obozu. Blood for blood, he said. So when Efe got back into his car to meet with Amanda, she tried convincing him to kill Obozu as Teacher had ordered him to do, but he refused. Amanda also told him about Mrs. Ogunlesi, and she is of the opinion that they kill her once and for all. Later that night, while they both sleep, Efe had a dream. His family was murdered. He screamed and woke up. Amanda calmed him down and gave him something to help him relax. He took it after hesitating and slept off. Nosa called. She just lost her mom. Amanda picked the call, but Nosa ended it immediately she heard her voice. As soon as Efe woke up, he requested for his phone and made a call. Nosa had already left with the kids. Efe went after her and got to her. She got a house without informing Efe, and that was where she went with the kids. Unknowingly to her, Efe knew about the house. Nosa informed him of the death of her mother also. On the other hand, Mrs. Ogunlesi continued her investigation. She questioned the manager of the hospital and how Efe was using the hospital's account to launder money. They shared to meet at a bar with evidence she gathered from the hospital. Efe went to see Ivy in his drunken state. They had a serious argument. Meanwhile, Obozu seems to be in a serious pain after Efe left him.
No be today person only me. Why this one pay me?
Mrs. Ogunlesi went to the bar waiting for the manager to come with evidence from the hospital. Apparently, Efe was also at the bar. He approached her and they began discussing if he knew she was investigating him. Afterwards, Efe went to the agency and made a complaint of harassment against Mrs. Ogunlesi. While this was going on, Nosa got a message through her daughter's school bag. Back to Mrs. Ogunlesi, the agency also got a letter from Mrs. Ogunlesi's therapist informing them that she has been regressing in her treatment and should be pulled out of active service. The manager at the hospital also made a complaint against Mrs. Ogunlesi for harassment and threats. For that, Superintendent Babalola had to let Mrs. Ogunlesi off her job. Meanwhile, Efe met up with Obozu. They hugged each other. Obozu apologized to Efe once again and told him he was willing to negotiate with Teacher so he can put everything to an end. Efe stood up to go to the restroom. Suddenly, some men attacked them and were shooting. Obozu brought out his charm and asked Efe to stay behind him. Efe stepped aside and stood by the men.
Touch my brother. Brother, take my back, don't worry. Take my back, I'll protect you, don't worry.
Obozu was shocked and confused, realizing that Efe set him up. It broke him, and the men shot continuously at Obuzu till he fell to the ground. Later on, Ife went to see Teacher. He kept his end of his bargain, and now he wants Teacher to stay off his family. It was supposed to be a 30% tax, but Teacher now wants 80%. Ife refused. They showed him a video of him while at the scene while they killed Obuzu, and it was a very strong evidence against him. Ife came back home to Amanda. They wanted to run off. He went to get some money and then went to see his wife. He heard a sound upstairs and sensed that someone was with her. He ran up the stairs only to see the male doctor that treated his daughter. He was having an affair with his wife. Ife attacked and strangled him. Ife angrily left and went to the hangar for his flight. He texted someone to come get some money. Onome came in and collected the money. Just in time, Mrs. Ogunlesi also came in and their cover was blown. Onome was the mole at the agency and was also responsible for the death of Benson. They were arrested and taken by the policemen. Apparently, Amanda was the one that leaked the video of Ife in the murder scene of Obuzu, while also sending all the evidence needed to jail him to Mrs. Ogunlesi. Amanda was a sneak, just like the one who came to Eve. Everyone testified against Ife, including Evie, his daughter. Nusa got a divorce, and while at the court, someone shot him. The movie then came to an end. Kindly subscribe for more if you enjoy latest Nollywood recap like this. Thanks for watching and goodbye.